All right, thanks everyone for joining today. My name is David Van Hooklam, and I'll be your host for today's session on Krow Professional Services Automation. This session will also be recorded. We'll make sure we send you a copy of the presentation once we're done. Again, thanks everyone for attending the session today. This looks like it's going to be our largest session to date. We've got a number of people, which looks like across the globe, both customers, prospects, and others that are joining today. So again, thank you. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, before we dive into the details on the Krow fall release, Krow will be at Dreamforce for those that are attending Dreamforce this year, actually next week in San Francisco. So for those that are attending Dreamforce, please make sure to stop by the Krow booth to see more details about Krow, learn more about Krow, and certainly have some swag available to you as well. We're at booth 1859. Again, Krow Software will be at Dreamforce next week as an exhibitor in the exhibitor hall, booth 1859. If you're going, we hope to see you there. So a little bit about Krow for those that are new to Krow on the call. Krow offers a complete platform for services organizations, eliminating the needs for siloed or disparate systems for managing the services organization, or the professional services teams, if you will. It's developed and deployed on a single unified solution built on the #1 CRM platform from Salesforce. You don't need to be a Salesforce customer to use Krow, but of course there are certain advantages, significant advantages, if you will, of combining both Salesforce CRM and Krow for services. So Krow Professional Services Automation offers everything from managing customers through to services CPQ, or professional services proposal, statement of works, quotes, contracts, project and task management, resource planning, staffing, through to time and expense management, project accounting, billing and invoicing, revenue recognition, customer and partner communities, and analytics, all built native on the Salesforce platform. As a user, you get everything. It's up to you as to what functionality you might want to deploy initially versus maybe deploy over time, if at all. So that's Krow Professional Services Automation. We like to say what Salesforce is to sales, Krow is to service, offering one platform, having a 360-degree visibility of your customers all the way from sales through to service delivery on one platform. Where Salesforce is managing sales and support and marketing and communities and platform, Krow is managing the services aspect or post-sales aspect of your clients, if you will, managing those client-facing projects, resourcing, time and expense management, billing, all native on the same platform. Krow offers an intuitive user experience, easy to use and adopt for all users, whether you're a consultant, a partner, an executive, a project manager, and so forth. We've optimized it for the latest user experience from Salesforce, Salesforce Lightning, but of course it completely supports Salesforce Classic as well. We offer a strong partner ecosystem. We know that in your services organization, the PSA application is not the only product that you're going to use or that you need to manage your services business. So for that reason, Krow offers seamless integration to a number of financial applications as well as productivity applications, such as our bidirectional integration with Jira, managing projects, tasks, and in the June release, timesheet information with Jira. Both directions are bidirectionally. Zendesk, integration with Slack, manage your projects and time, tasks, and so forth right from Slack. Salesforce, of course, being native on Salesforce. From a financial application, we integrate seamlessly with Sage, such as Sage Financials or Sage Intacct, QuickBooks Online, on-premise, Xero, NetSuite, Accounting Suite, out of the box, so you can seamlessly send your financial data as it relates to financial project accounting data directly into your financial application without having to re-enter that data seamlessly. These are all real-time integrations, web-based integrations that are delivered with Krow PSA. And then finally, high-growth firms really in a number of different industries on a global basis are choosing Krow to manage their professional services automation or professional services business, whether it be professional services teams, IT consulting firms, management consulting, agencies like digital agencies, marketing agencies, accountants, and so on. Any client or customer that has a client-facing project department, if you will, or services organization is a market for Krow and a potential customer for Krow in managing their professional services business. And then going into a little bit about the fall release and the release before that, the summer release, before I dive into a live demonstration of some of our latest features, is Krow continues our rapid pace of innovation. We have quarterly major releases, such as our fall release, which is coming out next week. We'll be announcing that at Dreamforce. Also, our summer release, which was in June, which is obviously our quarterly release prior to the fall release. And we continue to do innovations on a quarterly basis, but we also have monthly minor release cadence, if you will, for certain more minor features or functionality that our customers have requested, and that we'll push out in between those quarterly releases. So before we get into the Fall 18 release and we show you a live demonstration of those features, I thought I'd recap for those that might be new on the call or haven't deployed the Summer 18 release yet, some high-level summaries or release summaries, some key themes around the Summer 18 release that were released in June. So looking at the slide here, you can see we had some key themes around timesheets. So we delivered a number of enhancements on timesheets. Some of this I'll be showing today in the demonstration. Project management, so we delivered new cloning of projects, relative start days for project templates, number of Gantt enhancements as well. We enhanced proposals, offering milestone and expense features now to support in proposal management. I will be showing that in demonstration today as well. The ability to hold status on task assignments, a number of new reports, and also new billing types, which we've continued to enhance in the fall release. So specifically, percentage complete billing as well as retainer billing. And we've further enhanced that in the fall release, which I'll be talking about today as well. And now that supports our overall billing types that we support, including time and expense, fixed fee, immediate, recurring, installment-based billing, milestone-based billing, percentage complete, retainer. So a number of different billing methods delivered out of the box to support your services organization. And of course, using our contracts module along with our project management module, as well as a revenue recognition, means that you can actually support different billing methods, different revenue recognition methods, even within the same project based on the initial project kickoff versus change requests or amendments to that project, or a phase 2 of that project that might happen at a later date that might translate into a different type of billing that was initially at the outset of the project. So we continue really our enhancements, our innovation across the entire suite. The summer release themes really focused on timesheets, projects, proposals, and billing, as you can see here. So the focus of today's webinar and the demonstration, for the most part anyways, I'm going to be showing what we're going to be delivering in the Fall 18 release that's coming out the end of next week. And as I mentioned, we'll be launching that at Dreamforce. It'll be available for all customers, and we'll notify you, as we always do, of the availability of the Fall 18 release. So one of the key themes that you'll see in today's demonstration is around resource planning. So we've done a number of enhancements around resource planning, really resource planning, resource forecasting being a key issue for a lot of our customers and organizations as they're growing, as they're expanding, taking on more projects, different types of projects. We really need and want to work with our customers to deliver the most robust resource planning solution available on the market today. And we think we're there with this fall release. We're going to continue, obviously, to enhance resource planning, but we've delivered a number of key enhancements that you'll see in the demonstration today. We've also enhanced project management. And you'll see some inline editing, as well as the additional information for projects such as issues, task checklists and cloning task checklists, and field sets for tasks and field sets for projects and cloning. We've enhanced task management We enhanced billing as retainers, as I mentioned as well, which I'll discuss when I go through the demonstration. We can now clone expenses and as well as project task display, specifically the displaying of tasks on both my work and my project. So a number of enhancements in this quarter release with a real focus on resource planning and project management, and that will be the bulk of the demonstration today. All right, so without further ado, let me dive right into the demonstration and give you some insights and overview into the fall release, but I'll be talking a little bit about the summer release as well, especially for those on the call that are not existing Krow customers. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment and move over to the application. So hopefully everyone can see that screen in front of them. I believe you can. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first area that I'm going to focus on today is a number of the enhancements around resource planning. As I stated, resource planning being a key theme of our fall release. So for those that are familiar with resource planning or using resource planning today, you might immediately see some changes. So let me walk through some of the enhancements that we're delivering in the fall release for resource planning. So the first item is, you can see that we've actually doubled the amount of timeline or columns that you can see here in any particular view, whether you're on the week view or the month view as an example. We're now doubling the view that you can see here, which means more information that's available to you. Furthermore, we have a little tooltip in the center of the screen here that shows you what view you're on, whether you're on the plan view, scheduled view, looking at utilization, looking at availability. I can immediately see which view that I'm on. Furthermore, just as a note here, we have a new date field up top here. And what the date field allows you to do is you can jump to any point in time that you'd like to view your resources, whether it be in 2017, 2020, if you want to do some forecasting and so forth. So you can immediately, just by clicking the date, the application will move to that period of time, starting the first week or month representing that date that you've chosen. So you can immediately move to that period of time. All right. So the other item that you might have noticed is we have two new icons available now on the resource planner. So the first one is, if I just move this or pop open that icon, is now I can get a visual cue or legend of my project assignment status colors here. And for those, again, that are new to Krow, these project assignment status, we deliver a number. You can add to these project assignment statuses. And of course, these colors are completely configurable by you as a customer. But I can get some insight here into what is my project assignment colors or statuses that I'm looking at, so I can have a clear indication of what I'm looking at. Furthermore, if I now hover over, I can see some additional information, including the status, such as booked, soft booked, hold, and so forth, that we could see the scheduled hours, the available hours before, but now I'm looking at the soft book. So I'm getting, some notes here that the screen seems frozen. So let me just stop showing and re-show. Hopefully you can see that as I continue. All right, so let me continue. So here, as I was stating on the tooltip, you can see the status as well of those project assignments, such as hold, booked, and so forth, based on that new tooltip, if you will, or legend around the project assignment status colors. A couple of other key features. So number one is, which again you might notice immediately when viewing the resource planner, is I can have also different project assignment statuses, not only throughout the entire duration of the project assignment, which is still applicable, but also at different time frames during a project assignment itself. So here you can see actually this week for this project for AJ, he soft booked on this project. his assignment was rejected, and then starting here, it's standard booked status for this particular project. So as an example down here, I can see he's on hold for this particular time frame, identified by the yellow color, but if I wanted to just drag here and add more time, we now have a status here at a schedule level. So as an example, I can just book him for that period of time during that period on the project assignment itself. So what this is showing you is the ability to assign project assignment statuses not only to the entire range of that project assignment, but also at individual times. So for 1 week, I can hold them or soft book them. Another week, of course, within that same project assignment, I can hard book them and so forth. And that's indicated by, again, those configurable project assignment colors. Okay, so let's continue. Next feature here, if you can see this little icon up top, what I can do now is, based on the default, let me just close that down for a minute. Based on the default that you're seeing here, we are automatically calculating based on their work schedule and target utilization, what their schedule is, and if they are overscheduled, underscheduled, or properly scheduled, if you will. But I might want to see something a little bit different. So what I can do now is I can just immediately say, you know what, I'm not too worried about them being overscheduled, so I don't necessarily want it to show green unless maybe they're over 200% of their schedule, maybe not as realistic. But what I can do now is I can just modify that, and it's automatically going to refresh my screen here and update that color coding based on the thresholds I would like to view based on if they're properly scheduled, underscheduled, or overscheduled. And at any point in time, of course, I can just reset that, as you can see here as well. Okay, so a couple of new icons that are available. The one actually that I forgot to show very quickly is for those, again, that are using resource planning today, we have moved back from the inline editing on project assignment to the pop-up that you've seen in other areas of the application. So this allows you to, even though I'm on the week view, I can delete that week schedule immediately. I can also update or allocate the schedule on a daily basis at a weekly level, right from the resource planner. Previous for those users that are using the resource planner, it used to be inline editing, but now we've actually moved back to the pop-up based on customer feedback, which is consistent with other areas of the application. Okay, so another key feature, again, continuing on a theme of resource planning, is our filters have now moved over to the left side here. And I've just clicked on that button, and now the filters pop up, as you can see here. And what this is allowing me to do in the latest release is to multi-filter. And we've also added a number of new filters, as you can see here. So I have a number of new filters, such as just show me unassigned resources, search by resources, by projects, project status, accounts, teams, queues, roles, skills, regions, practice, location, okay, as I'm searching for resources. So as an example, I can be searching for project manager that have a certain skill or skills in a certain location like UK, and I can just apply that, and it's going to immediately filter my results based on my search. And now I can come back to my filter and I can further define or refine my filters, or maybe just click on reset and remove that filter so I can go back to my previous view as well. So this filter moving to the left side allows me to multi-filter on various filters that we deliver. And then finally, moving over to the schedule view for a moment, which is the task scheduling view. I'm just going to open up my resource AJ. One of the enhancements that we actually delivered in the summer release, which is the ability to hold on a task level schedule assignment. So not on a project level, but at a task level. So I can immediately see, oh, okay, he's booked on this task here. Even though he's hard booked on the project, I'm holding him on this task, which is identified by the yellow color here. So I can immediately see, well, he's not booked on that. He has some availability to pick up some more task work because he's only hold status on this task. And I can do it right from here. I can also do it right on the project task page as well, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. All right, so that's some of the features that we have enhanced within resource planning, specifically a doubling of the range, viewing of the page that I'm on, jumping to a particular time on the resource planner, project assignment color status, updating the percentage ranges of availability or utilization based on thresholds that you'd like to see, inline project assignment schedules at various durations during that project assignment, moving the filters over, enabling multi-filter, if you will, on the resource planner, as well as moving to the pop-up, or back to the pop-up, I should say, on the resource planner as well. So a number of different enhancements, as you can see, specifically to resource planning. So with that, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to jump over here to my projects for a moment. I'm going to show you some additional features in resource planning, as well as some other general project management features. So the first thing that you may notice, number one, is, of course, I still have my embedded analytic here for those that are new to Krow, and I can see everything that's going on with my project, such as percentage complete, project hours, my burn rate of the project, margin, and so forth. One of the things we've added in the it was actually in a service pack on the summer release, but of course being included in the fall release, is additional inline editing for projects. So here, my default view that you're all familiar with now, which is task information, what I can do now is, you can see I have additional inline editing available. So if I just click on task progress now, so now I can see tasks, and if they're billable, what the estimated hours are and what the percentage complete are of those various tasks. And what I can do right from here is I can update that from, as an example, 25 to 50% complete. And maybe I want to update the estimated hours for this is actually going to be 40 hours. And I can just inline edit all of my tasks within this page. And by the way, not available for today's demonstration, but what's coming, and I know it is a key enhancement for our customers, is there's going to be an expand button here to expand all tasks on the page when you open up the project task page as well. So it allows me to very quickly update my billable flag, my estimated hours on a particular task, as well as percentage complete inline editing without having to navigate into a task or even access the Gantt chart. We also introduced milestone. So here I can, as an example, choose a particular task I want to be a milestone and put in a milestone payment amount right here as well. So very quick inline editing ability to update task information, milestone payments, in this case, billable, estimated hours, percentage complete. And then finally, what we've added in the fall release is project issues. And we're also going to be adding project risks in the next release, possibly in the service pack release to the fall release. But here now I can see all of my project issues. I can update the status here, such as I want to escalate this status. It is a high severity. Maybe this one should be medium severity. So I can update that. I can also add a new issue. So when I've moved over to the issues section here, I can add a new issue right here. And the fields that are displaying here are from a field set. So we've added a new field set here on the issue object, so you can define which fields that you would like to display here, including custom fields when adding a new issue directly from the project task page. And of course, if I wanted to or needed to delete or take action upon certain issues, I can do that right from here as well. And by the way, I'll just mention it as I'm here on the project page. We've also included new field sets on both the project and task for cloning. So as an example, when you clone projects from templates and create a new project from a template, there's new field sets so you can identify, as an example, custom fields that you want to clone over from your tasks or projects that you've created into a new project. And that will be part of the fall release. And then finally, for those that are using the export to CSV, one of our last enhancements that we'll be including in the fall release is the field set to control the fields display on the export to CSV of the project details. I believe in the summer release, we included the work breakdown structure, WBS number of the task, so what position the task is in on the project task page and or the Gantt page on the task itself, so you could always report in a standard report. But we've also now deliver that field set so that you can define and export right from the project task page any and all task fields in the columns in the sort order that you would like to see. All right, let's come back to my task information here. So I'm opening up a task now just to show you some additional information. For those that have not seen the summer release yet, we also included on every task side navigation page here the project and task name, so it's always visible. If I move over to the schedule page here, you can also see here's that hold indicator at a task level. So even though the resource is scheduled, I want to hold that resource at this point in time so I can visually see that for resource planning purposes, just in case I want to hold them but not hard schedule them on a certain task, which of course is different from booking them or soft booking them on a project. We're talking about a task level here now. Furthermore, what we also delivered in the summer release is as I'm scheduling resources here at a task level, I can search for resources right from the task. We could do this before, but we included now the new project team button. So now what it's saying is I just want to look at the people that are already on this project and their availability to pick up this certain task based on the task start date and end date and their available hours based on all scheduled hours across all projects, right? I want to take into consideration other hours or other scheduled hours on other projects that they're working. And of course, we continue to have this search for resources and skills outside of the project itself, anyone that might have availability to pick up this certain task. Again, the system is smart enough to calculate the available hours between the task start date and due date in this example. Now, let's continue on another theme again of resource planning. So some enhancements we've made here. I'm now looking at the resource plan for this particular project. I have my placeholder here, right? And I'm going to replace that placeholder on this particular project, and I'm just going to click on that placeholder. And it's going to bring me to that search page for this particular placeholder on this project. We've added some additional information here, such as I can now see the project, the requirement of role, developer, required hours, the duration, as well as the skills based on the role itself that I'm looking for. And it's automatically now going to filter based on all that information. Here's the developer placeholder and the schedule of the developer that I'm looking to replace. You can see I actually have no results here based on all of those requirements. We've also moved the filter over here as well to the left side. And as you can see here, it's already defaulted in. I'm looking for a developer and these particular skills that I'm looking for automatically when I selected that placeholder. So what I can do here is if I want to expand that search, I can just click on reset, apply. I could have identified other filter information, but in this case, I'm just removing those filters so I can see some demo information here. So now I have additional resources available to me because I removed those filters. Another enhancement that we've delivered is I now can see availability of those resources based on, again, the duration of this project assignment, so August to November in this example. I have my required hours of 18, it looks like, and I have my availability between that time frame. It looks like both resources have availability to pick up that assignment based on the availability of this particular resource. I can, again, continue to select these two resources and compare those two resources, and I can drill into additional information, of course, where they're located, team, region, location, the skills and the skills proficiency, what their utilization is. I can also, in their available hours, as we saw from the previous page as well. And then, of course, I've hidden it for now, but I could view their cost rate or bill rate information if that was applicable during my search and replace, if you will, for resource planning. So those are some of the enhancements that we're delivering for resource planning. Now let me just switch gears for a moment. I'm just going to navigate to the My Work page, or the page where individuals can manage all of their project or even non-project related tasks. And we've added a new filter here on account or customer, which we didn't have before. You could filter on teams and personal tasks and projects and priority and so forth, but we now have included an account filter. And why that's applicable and why some of our customers ask us for this is, of course, now I can filter by account instead of just by project, especially if an account has multiple projects. So let me just look at my Edge Communications account here. And now I can see number of tasks that are in progress, working priority, and so forth. For this particular account, looks like I have an implementation project here highlighted in blue, and of course I can continue to work on that particular task, whether it be scheduling resources, collaborating, entering time against that particular task, start my timer, and so forth, all functionality that we had certainly previous to the fall release. But now what I can also do is I can just search for an account such as my Acme account here. And this was a requirement for some of our customers, such as customer success organizations, that they want to be able to manage their tasks and they're not necessarily associated with projects. So you can see here, there's no project associated with these tasks. These are just tasks that I've associated with accounts, because maybe as a customer success representative, I want to set up a meeting and see how my client is doing. I want to review the NPS survey with my client and so forth. And of course, we have bi-directional integration with Salesforce tasks if relevant as well. So this is the account filter as part of the fall release that is available to our customers as well. All right, so let's switch gears now. So what I'm going to show now is some additional enhancements delivered with both the summer and the fall release. So number one is this was delivered with the summer release, but for those that haven't seen it yet, this is called the timeline. So we introduced the timeline in the summer release, which allows you, I'm on a particular project, by the way, the client project. So here what I can see is everything that's going on in this project. Whenever something happens in this project, it's going to create a notification and a record for me, by the way. This is completely reportable. But here, of course, it's going to be descending based on what's most recently happened. But here, you can see as I scroll down, I can see everything that's happened, such as task status changes, project health has changed a few times. I can see an alert here that total logged hours exceeded estimated hours, a project note was added, project assignment was added, and so forth. A project issue and risk was added, and I can drill down into the details of that information as well. And again, this is completely reportable. It's saved in a table, if you will, so I can report on that, put it in a dashboard if I wish. But right as I'm navigating and working on this project, I can just simply access the timeline and see all of my project activity. And that includes notes, by the way. So if you're tracking your project notes here as well, those will show up. Public notes, private notes stay private to the individual. So that was the timeline that was delivered in the summer release. But what's new in the fall release, which is another key enhancement request for our customers, is enhancements to checklists on tasks. So let me show that. So you can create a series of checklists on tasks. The first thing that is new that I'll just talk about versus showing is that checklists are now clonable, meaning that you can create a number of checklists on tasks, on project templates, and those checklist items will be copied over when you create a new project from that template project. So the cloning of checklists is now delivered with the fall release. But we didn't stop there. Some additional enhancements. So number one is I can now inline edit the description of those tasks. We're also now showing those tasks in the appropriate order, if you will, based on when you add those checklist items. But I can inline edit those tasks at any time, as you can see here, the description of those tasks. Furthermore, if I wanted to, even though I completed a task, if I did it in error, I can uncheck that task as well, and then recheck that completion when I've completed that task. All right. So that's a couple of features and checklists. Another enhancement that we delivered, and this is configurable on a task level, is now checklists can calculate what the percentage completion is of the task based on checklist completion. So here you can say I have 3 tasks and I have 1 completed, which is around 33% complete, right? So if I look at the details of that task, I could have closed this down and viewed it on the task, but I'm just going to view it here where I can see it's 33.33% complete. If I go back to my activity here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add a new checklist item. Okay, I'm going to add my 4th checklist item here. So now the percentages should change, right? If I have 4 tasks and only 1 complete, that's now 25% complete, right? So this will update for me automatically, 25% complete based on my checklist items. And now, of course, if I go ahead and complete another one, that's going to update for me to 50% complete. So again, as I stated, this is configurable to turn off or on, but we've enhanced checklists to update task completion, inline editing of checklist items, and of course, most importantly, for our customers, the ability to define checklists on a project template and have those clone over when creating a new project from a template. So that's some enhancements that we've delivered with checklist items. Another enhancement, I should say very quickly, smaller enhancement, but again, a high priority request for a lot of our customers, which was now when I have an expense report here and all of my expense line items, as you can see here, for a number of our customers, they have very similar expenses on a weekly or monthly basis if they're traveling back and forth to a client. So now I have the ability to clone the entire expense. So I just click on the clone button, and it's going to clone that entire expense for me. It's created a new expense record, brought over all of my expense lines, of course, zeroed out the expense amount because I'm now going to update those expenses with the actual expense amount that I incurred during that particular week. But having said that, I can now clone all of my expenses at any point in time just by a click of a button. So that was one of the other enhancements that we're delivering with the fall release, which was around expense cloning. To continue on, so now I'm accessing timesheets. We'll talk a little bit about some of the enhancements that we delivered actually in the summer release, but as a recap. So number one is we delivered the ability to show task scheduling information right on the timesheet, such as where I'm scheduled on this particular task, how much I billed, what my variance is, such as 84 hours here, and I can update that, such as add 4 more hours and save that, and it's going to update my variance in real time here, so I can always see where I'm at. I can add validation rules here to say, hey, you can't go over certain task scheduled hours or project hours and so forth. But here I can see scheduled time. We've also had a copy from previous week for a long time, but we recently with the summer release introduced copy from schedule. So now if you want to copy your task schedule assignments automatically into your timesheet just by click of a button, you can do that as well, and it will populate the hours based on my task schedule assignment as well. And then some of the recent features that we delivered with timesheets is the ability to enter time from anywhere, as we call it. So whether you're on a timesheet, obviously, whether you're on my project or my work, which we could always do, but just for those that are new to Krow on the page, on the call, excuse me, I could always enter time right from a task from any view, whether it be manually entering that time or even starting my timer. As you can see here, of course, we can enter time from mobile. We recently introduced what's called an action. So here, whatever page I'm on in Salesforce, whether it be in Krow or even Salesforce, I can open up this action here and enter time, as you can see right here. As I'm entering in time or working on a particular activity, I can enter time from wherever I am, and that's going to show up on my timesheet automatically. And furthermore, with that action, and why I have my little demo email open here, is that I can enter time right from my email as well, based on our action that can be included in the email integration, both Gmail and Outlook, by the way. All right. So that's some enhancements around timesheets. Now, let me just continue on here. Just quickly, one of the enhancements that we delivered, actually both with the summer and the fall release, was around additional billing types and specifically retainers. So we delivered retainers, the first version of retainers in the summer release, allowing you to define retainers. You can define retainers on a monthly, weekly, annual basis, as an example, prepaid hours limit, amount limit. And in the summer release, we had an excess rate here, meaning that if there was an overage or the time went over the retainer, it's going to be billed at a particular rate that you identify here or overridden on the project. With the fall release now, you can leave that blank, and if so, it will pick the actual rates based on that time overage instead of a defined excess rate. So that is something that is new with the fall release as we continue to enhance retainers as well with the fall release. Another feature quickly that we delivered with the summer release, just again, those that have not seen it or take advantage of the summer release, was we've always had, of course, proposals and contracts, but with the summer release, what we delivered was the ability now to define expenses and milestone information at a proposal level. We always had hours when you're doing proposal lines for different roles and estimated hours for that proposal, fixed fee items as an example, as you can see here. But we've now added expenses and milestones. And why that's important is when you pick a unit of expense, and when the project, as an example, is created from the proposal, once the proposal is accepted, it will automatically add to the expense budget and create expense contract lines for that particular project. And then similarly with milestones, you can identify a task or task name, and it will automatically create a milestone and a milestone payment for the particular amount that's specified from the proposal. So additional enhancements that we're delivering around proposals, specifically around expense budgeting and milestone payment creation automatically from proposals when a project is created. And of course, for proposal management, for those that are new, you can create proposals, contracts, see a running total of margin, estimated margin percentage, expected revenue, budgeted cost for the project as you're building that proposal. You can synchronize with a project. You can import from opportunities for those that are using Salesforce today. I can add products from product price book and so forth. And then, of course, I can automatically create projects, as well as I can generate a proposal using our built-in integration with Conga for defined proposal templates with Krow Proposal Management. All right, and then finally, we continue to deliver analytics and insight for services organizations into all of the information that we are tracking as part of Krow and your projects, your revenue recognition, your financials, your resources, and so forth. And some of the recent reports that we've delivered that I'll show now are, oops, wrong one actually that I wanted to show. So here's just an example of some valuable reports for services organizations. So here's one called Supply and Demand by Role. It looks at the total schedule availability of my resources versus what their schedule is and calculates what their availability is. In this case, I'm looking at it by role. So at any point in time here, by role, I can see the available hours at any point in time. As far into the future, you can see I'm well into the end of 2019, as far into the future as you've scheduled resources, and I can see the availability of those resources as well. So that's a supply and demand by role report. Another key report that we delivered was around project forecasting. So using our project forecasting engine, where we will calculate at any point in time, as far into the future as information exists, a project forecast, both from a revenue and cost perspective, as well as a schedule perspective, based on all of the information in the system. So as an example, time and expense project, I can forecast what my revenue and cost are based on scheduled hours into the future for any type of projects or projects that are in pipeline. For milestone or fixed fee or retainer-based projects, based on what's called project billing lines that are created into the future. For a monthly based retainer that goes out 24 months, I can forecast that, milestone payments, and so forth. So I can forecast what my revenue is, and of course compare that against actual as actual comes in, whether it be actual billed, actual invoiced, and so forth. So that's the project forecasting report. Another report that we've recently delivered is around utilization trend by month. So here I can see my utilization trend. Looks pretty bad in my demo system here, but I can see my total billable utilization, average billable utilization, including PTO. So when we track scheduled utilization, we track all information, whether it be on a weekly or monthly basis, for every resource, for every project. And that includes not only scheduled time or billable time that they've entered, but also their PTO time, holiday time, so that you can, as an example, report on utilization that includes PTO, as an example, instead of not including PTO. That's just a reporting parameter, so that you're not penalizing resources for PTO when looking at average billable utilization. So this is the average trend by month utilization report. Some of our customers like to view it the following way. If I can find it, here we go. So maybe in a grid format, like some of our customers like to see, which is on the left side here, I can see all of my resources by month, what their utilization is, both billable and total hours utilization. So simple report, but again, shows me just a breakdown by month, by resource, what their utilization looks like. I could further break this down by project if I wish, and look at various projects by resource and what their utilization is. Here's another nice report around available FTE by role. by month in this example, which is basically just showing me by month how many lead developers, project managers, consultants, and so forth, as an FTE instead of by hours, basically by people, how many people do I have available this month that are not fully resourced or scheduled yet, that I can resource on particular projects. And then, of course, I can forecast that into the future as well. And then finally, just looking at it from a dashboard perspective, instead of looking at it in a report, I might want to show all of that information and more on a dashboard. So here's an example of a services dashboard where I can see my revenue summary by year, how much I've invoiced, how much we've expected, how much we've recognized to date from revenue recognition, what was my baseline, what's my supply and demand look like. So this is the report just shown on a dashboard. What's my projects by status look like, my utilization by resource, by role. What's my task status look like, how many not started, in progress, completed, priority, overdue. What are my top projects by billing? What's my average hours spent per project? What's my total invoice for this calendar year? So we deliver a number of different dashboards, but here's just an example where I've kind of brought it all together into an overall services summary dashboard where I can see information on revenue, on resource, on projects, on tasks, on invoicing, and so forth, all within one dashboard. So in summary, a number of enhancements that we're delivering with the fall release, as well as what we delivered in our last quarterly release, which was the summer release. Of course, key themes around resource planning that I showcased today, key themes around enhancements to task and account filtering, checklists and the ability to clone checklists, new field sets on exporting project detailed information, tasks, and project field sets, if you will, cloning of expenses, timesheet enhancements to billing and retainer billing, as I mentioned, enhancements to proposals around expenses and milestones, as well as continued enhancements and innovation around analytics and reports that we're delivering so that services organizations can be most effective in managing their services business, as well as forecasting their services business, as well as revenue and resources. So with that, I want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. You will get a copy of today's recording. Please feel free to reach out to us at any time. You can reach us at www.krowsoftware.com. Call us at 1-844-GET-KROW, support@krowsoftware.com, contact@krowsoftware.com. And again, for those that are attending Dreamforce, we'll be at booth 1859, and we look forward to seeing you there. So thanks, everyone, for attending today. Look forward to hearing from you soon.